Good afternoon, everyone. State of our Earth's climate 2016. A quarter of Asia, 50 degrees below normal temperatures. Unusual snows across Eurasia. In areas, up to double snows across the northern hemisphere. 3/4 of the world's oceans are cooling. A full 0.2 of a degree drop in 3 weeks. North Atlantic, dropping. Pacific, dropping. Greenland ice, not melting like they say it is, increasing, blowing away all records. Solar cycle peak, 3 years ahead of schedule. A direct correlation between water vapor and sunspots. That's why you're seeing so many floods these years. And in just 6 years from now, we're going to have the exact same planetary geometry that we had during the late antiquities, Little Ice Age. And this video is brought to you by all my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. And this video is directly for you. I was thinking about you as I was putting it together. This is what I've compiled over this whole year of research. And please remember to press that subscribe button. Headlines blaring globally, Greenland losing a ton of ice, actually gigatons of ice, the most in 20,000 years. Yet 2016 blows away all the records previously kept for snow and ice increase on Greenland. This is from DMI, well above normal for 2016 entering into 2017. As well as the number of mass balance melt days, it's actually increasing on the east coast of Greenland, not decreasing. Fraudulent data on the left side by NSIDC showing those small melt points across Greenland. Jumping over to Null School on the exact same day, exact same area shows minus 6 degrees Celsius. And if you go further into that northeast arrow, the teal green color is even cooler than the blue. More media manipulation. Greenland's huge annual ice loss earlier than usual. Yeah, in April, it melted earlier than usual, but in May, it was far below normal melting. Where were the news headlines on that? Speaking of silence in the media, a quarter of Asia is 50 degrees below Fahrenheit. Never seen before by veteran weather forecasters. NOAA actually forced to come out and overhaul its winter forecast because of this. And if we look at September anomalies, you'll see that Eurasian area, abnormal snows pulling forward here through October. Eurasia continuing, double snowfall totals. We'll take a look at the high pressure, low pressure blocking systems here. Last week of October, second week of November, you can see the progression. And we have entered record global cooling over all the land temperature data stations. A bit closer up view for you here. This is from remote sensing systems. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. 75% of the oceans are cooling at the moment, as well as the land. If you look at the equatorial Pacific, Southern Hemisphere, North Pacific, those are literally 1/10 of a degree from baseline. Going into the cooling phase, and the global sea surface temperature anomalies have dropped a full 0.2 of a degree in 3 weeks. That's an enormous amount of heat dissipation. Now, splitting hairs and jumping over to the Atlantic, the blue square here encompasses all the temperature readings that I'm going to show you right now, decreasing. Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. The water that was cool at 2,000 feet has actually made its way to the surface now, experiencing colder than normal water conditions. You can see why it's dropped off so steeply in the last couple of years. This would explain why Sweden just had all-time record snows. There's record cold across Europe, record snows, blasting through Austria, through Germany, through France. And this is an indication of what is to come. Arctic sea ice melt stopped 3 weeks short this year of the average melt season. Jumping over to the Pacific, heading into La Nina with cooling oceans. The top bar there, 130 east to 80 west. This is the profile here, steep drop off, La Nina time. So we have the Atlantic going cold, the Pacific going cold, and the sunspots in the solar cycle itself on the regular 11 year is 3 years ahead of schedule. This is going to be one of the shortest solar cycles since the 1700s. So many of the forecasters got it wrong. The only person pegging it was John Casey. I mean, we look out at the forecast standard curves, they're looking at the bottom of the cycle, somewhere right around 2017 middle area. You're telling me that that thing is not going to flatten out and flare off into 2020. That thing is going straight down. Follow it linearly down into 2017, 2018. This is a nice overlay of the global temperature and sunspot numbers. Since the sunspots are decreasing so quickly, you can expect that our global temperatures are going to go along with that. Now we have all these indicators turning cool at the same time, and you can see a direct correlation of the magnetosphere decreasing when the sun's intensity decreases. And this allows more galactic cosmic rays to enter the atmosphere, which explains the water vapor anomalies directly correlated with the sunspot and magnetic activity across our planet and the sun. And the wild card in all of this is the planetary geometry. When you see these grand solar minimums, there's a specific lineup of the planets. This particular lineup that you see in 2024 has repeated again and again and again through history. This was the end of the Roman Empire in the Justinian plague era. When we come down and we take a look at all the collapses of all the Chinese dynasties were right during these grand solar minimums. Our Earth's climate is cooling. And I personally don't know why all these smoke and mirrors have been put forth in front of you for the last 15 years. I really don't get the agenda. If I can explain it to you, the Earth is cooling and we need to get ready to adjust our food growing systems, getting more self-sufficient in our communities, coming together as a human race. Why was this not being told to you even last year or the year before when all the signs were there where we're getting into this grand solar minimum cooling cycle again? I am so happy you're watching this video. You need to prepare yourself because it is absolutely here right now, and it's going to intensify year upon year. So everything you see happening this winter, multiply that by 8, and that will be the intensity of it when we get to 2023. And again, I want to thank all my Patreon supporters. I hope everybody did get something out of this video. I wish you would subscribe to the channel. I'll bring more information like this to you. It's going to be a collective effort from this point forward. History is about to repeat.